Echoes of a Nation on the Brink. 1976 revisited in 2025. In 1976, the United Kingdom teetered on the edge of economic collapse. Inflation surged past 25%, the pound plummeted, and investor confidence evaporated. Ultimately, the Labour government had to request a $3.9 billion bailout from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, a humiliating low for one of the world's major powers. Fast forward to 2025, and history is threatening to repeat itself. While the warning signs aren't identical, the underlying rot is eerily familiar: spiraling debt, stagnant growth, social unrest, and an overwhelmed welfare system. This time, however, a new ingredient adds to the cauldron: mass illegal migration straining public services and stirring political instability. Chapter 1: The Parallels of Desperation. Then and now, the British economy is caught in a trap of poor productivity, inflationary pressures, and policy indecision. In 1976, Britain's post-war economic miracle had withered into a bloated bureaucracy, incapable of delivering growth. In 2025, after decades of over-reliance on services, Britain finds itself hollowed out, with deindustrialization having robbed many regions of productive capacity. Inflation in 2025, while lower than in the 1970s, remains persistent, hovering around 3.5% amid stagnant wage growth and rising living costs. Public borrowing remains dangerously high, with a deficit nearing 6% of GDP. Recent tax rises have pushed the overall tax burden to its highest peacetime level. But the public is fatigued. There is no appetite for further austerity. And yet, public services are collapsing under the weight of demand. Chapter 2: The Migration Crisis and the Welfare Collapse. The UK's illegal migration crisis in 2025 is adding severe pressure to a crumbling system. Despite government crackdowns and new deportation policies, thousands arrive monthly through unofficial routes. With an estimated 1.2 million undocumented migrants now living in the UK, many without means to support themselves, the burden on housing, healthcare, education, and local councils has reached breaking point. NHS wait times have spiraled. Inner-city schools are over capacity. Local authorities, already bankrupted by inflation-linked debt payments, are collapsing. Birmingham, Slough, and Croydon are cautionary tales. Councils that went bankrupt in 2023 now face even worse prospects in 2025. Migrant shelters are overflowing. Temporary accommodation costs for councils are projected to top £6 billion this year alone. The black market economy is thriving, with illegal labour pushing down wages and displacing native workers in low-skilled sectors. Small businesses are quietly relying on off-the-books labour just to survive the tax and regulatory burden. The shadow economy, now estimated at over 14% of GDP, is bleeding the treasury of revenue it desperately needs. Chapter 3: The Unravelling of the Middle Class. Britain's middle class is in free fall. Mortgage arrears are rising as interest rates, while easing slightly, remain painful. Real wages have stagnated since 2021. Council tax bills are skyrocketing. Energy prices, though off their peak, remain volatile and unaffordable for many households. Retirees, once able to rely on modest pensions, are now dipping into savings just to survive. The dream of property ownership is fading. Retail footfall is falling. Supermarket thefts and organized shoplifting are up 38% year-on-year. Security staff are quitting in droves. High street closures are accelerating, as commercial landlords face insolvency. Antisocial behavior and petty crime have surged across major cities. London, Manchester, Birmingham, all are reporting increases in theft, knife crime, and gang activity. Chapter 4: Political Paralysis and International Contempt. The government is paralyzed. The Labour-led coalition, afraid of a backlash, has walked back on benefit reform and migration enforcement. Meanwhile, foreign investors are fleeing. British gilts are increasingly seen as risky, and yields are creeping up. If this continues, debt servicing could overtake defence and education in budgetary priority. The pound, while stable for now, is under quiet siege. A few more quarters of negative growth or another political scandal could trigger a sell-off. The Bank of England is running out of options. Rate cuts to stimulate growth will fuel inflation. Fiscal tightening to calm markets will ignite social unrest. Chapter 5: The Grim Forecast. If trends continue unchecked, Britain may be on the verge of a modern IMF intervention, not as dramatic as in 1976, but humiliating nonetheless. Private creditors could demand external oversight. A UK debt stability mechanism akin to Greece's Troika oversight could be imposed to prevent default. Key risk events looming: a sovereign downgrade by Moody's or Fitch, a sterling crash below $1.10, civil unrest or major anti-government protests, council insolvencies on a national scale, an NHS collapse during the 2025 to 2026 winter crisis. In short, without radical, painful reform, including mass deportations of illegal migrants, deep civil service cuts, and pro-growth deregulation, the UK may enter the 2030s as a de facto managed economy under foreign supervision. Conclusion: a warning ignored. History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. In 1976, Britain woke up in time, barely. In 2025, the alarm bells are ringing, but few are listening. The patient is sick again. And this time, the world may not be as willing to fund Britain's recovery. The ghost of 1976 walks among us once more. Will Britain confront it, or collapse beneath its haunting shadow? If you enjoy the reality that no one wants to face, like and subscribe. See you next time.